Welcome to another video from 55 degrees north. Today we're uncovering the story of one of the most extraordinary yet often overlooked structures in the northeast of England. A bridge that changed the way Britain's trains move forever. This is the story of the King Edward VII Bridge, a triumph of Edwardian engineering that rose above the River Tyne in the early 1900s, a bridge that not only transformed the railways but became a symbol of Newcastle's industrial pride. By the end of the 19th century, Newcastle's rail network was bursting at the seams. Every single train that crossed the Tyne, from local services to express trains from London, had to use one bridge, Robert Stephenson's High Level Bridge, built back in 1849. It was an impressive structure for its time, a double-deck bridge carrying both road and rail traffic. But by the 1890s, it had become a victim of its own success. Trains heading north from London were forced to reverse direction at Newcastle Central Station before continuing to Scotland. Locomotives uncoupled, trains shunting back and forth, passengers waiting as smoke and steam filled the air. At its peak, over 800 train movements happened across the high-level bridge every single day. The result, a massive bottleneck in Britain's main East Coast artery. From the North Eastern Railway, or NER, this wasn't just inconvenient, it was unacceptable. Newcastle was a vital link on the East Coast main line, connecting London with Edinburgh and beyond. Delays have rippled across the entire country. So NER's engineers and directors knew something had to change. In 1893, discussions began on how to fix the problem. The company debated every option. Should they widen the high-level bridge to add more tracks? Should they build a completely new bridge somewhere else, perhaps at Elsick or Heaton? Or could they redesign the central station itself? Each idea had its supporters and its problems. Widening the high-level bridge was nearly impossible. There simply wasn't enough space. Relocating would be too expensive. By 1898, after years of debate, the NER settled on the most ambitious plan of all, a brand new railway bridge just west of the high-level bridge, directly connecting to the south end of Newcastle Central Station. That same year, local papers announced the plans to the public. The vision was clear, a new 4-track bridge that would eliminate the dreaded reversal and finally allow trains to run seamlessly between London and Scotland. In 1899, the project received parliamentary approval under the North Eastern Railway Act, and the dream began to take shape. The man who would bring this vision to life was Charles A. Harrison, the NER's chief civil engineer, and the nephew of Thomas Harrison, who had co-designed the high-level bridge decades earlier. Charles was a practical, thoughtful engineer. His first design to the new Tyne Bridge was elegant but simple, a 2-span lattice girder bridge with stone approaches on both sides. But during the site survey, engineers discovered something alarming. Abandoned coal mine workings beneath the river and on both banks. These old tunnels and voids made the ground unstable. A design with 2 long spans and heavy pier loads simply wouldn't work. So Harrison went back to the drawing board. He reimagined the bridge as 4 shorter spans supported by multiple piers that would distribute the weight more safely across the riverbed. The final design was an impressive steel lattice truss bridge carrying 4 parallel railway tracks over spans ranging from 190 to 300 feet. On the Newcastle side, Harrison faced another challenge: how to bring the new lines into already crowded Central Station. His solution was ingenious. Rather than demolish the NER's massive 4th goods warehouse, he sliced a 4-track wide opening right through its roof. Trains would literally pass through the building, peering down into its upper floors as they entered the station, a brilliant compromise, both practical and economical. On the south bank in Gateshead, the new line split into a triangular junction, connecting the lines west towards Dunstan and north into Newcastle. This made the new bridge not just a mainline crossing, but a vital connector for freight and industry across Tyneside. The construction contract was awarded on February the 13th, 1902, to the Cleveland Bridge and Engineering Company of Darlington, experts in steel bridge construction. On July the 29th, the foundation stone was laid with due ceremony at the Newcastle end of the site. What followed was one of the most ambitious civil engineering projects ever undertaken in the region. 5 massive cast iron caissons, watertight cylinders, were floated into position on the Tyne. Inside these, teams of workers, called sandhogs, dug deep into the riverbed under compressed air. It was hot, dangerous and claustrophobic work. To prevent the bends, no one under 40 was allowed to work in the caissons, and shifts were limited to just 4 hours. Even so, they were casualties. One man lost his life, another one was left permanently disabled. Many others suffered from the effects of poisonous gases seeping from old coal seams. Once the caissons reached solid rock, they filled them with nearly 28,000 tons of concrete each, forming a solid foundation for the bridge's massive piers. Above the waterline, the piers rose over 100 feet high, built of sandstone and granite, with decorative arches that reflected Newcastle's love for grand architecture. Then came the steelwork. Using enormous forest timber scaffolding, the engineers began assembling the lattice girders, some 27 feet deep and 50 feet wide, piece by piece. To move the materials across the river, they built something revolutionary, a 1,521-foot aerial cableway suspended 200 feet above the Tyne, the longest in the world at the time. This cableway carried over 23,000 tons of steel and stone during construction, and after the project finished, its cable was reused by Swan Hunter to launch the legacy ocean liner RMS Mauritania. By mid-1906, after 4 years of grueling work, the bridge stood complete and was a sight. It was powerful, elegant and unmistakably Edwardian. On the 10th of July 1906, Newcastle welcomed royal visitors, King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra, to officially open the new bridge that bore the King's name. A special platform was erected on the Gateshead side, and before a cheering crowd, the King declared the bridge open and boarded a train that became the first ever to cross it. In 1959, the 4-track approach on the Gateshead side was simplified to 3 tracks. Later, in the 1980s, the bridge was electrified. A new generation of high-speed trains now rode across the century-old steelwork. In 1994, the bridge was officially recognised as a Grade 2 listed structure, protecting it for future generations. Today, the King Edward VII Bridge remains one of the most important rail crossings in the country. Every day, dozens of passengers and freight trains thunder across it, from high-speed London expresses to local services bound for Scotland and the North East. Its strong yet graceful silhouette stands proudly alongside its neighbours, the High Level Bridge and the Queen Elizabeth II Metro Bridge, together forming the unmistakable skyline of Tyneside's West End. The King Edward VII Bridge was one of the last great railway bridges built in Britain before World War I, a final flourish of Victorian ambition carried into the Edwardian age. It's not as famous as the Forth Bridge or the Tyne Bridge, but in many ways it's just as important. Without it, the East Coast Main Line, the lifeline between London and Edinburgh, would never become the seamless route we know today. It stands as a symbol of what the North East does best, combining innovation, skill and hard work to solve problems and build the future. So what do you think of the King Edward VII Bridge? Please leave a comment below with your thoughts on this incredible piece of history. And if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a massive thumbs up, as it really helps the channel grow. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss any future uploads. A massive thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on 55 Degrees North.